You're lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying the last message they sent. It was short, cold, different. Your chest feels tight. You tell yourself you won't text again, but your hand reaches for the phone anyway. You start typing. You delete it. You type again. And in that moment, it doesn't feel like pride or ego. It feels like panic. Something inside you is afraid of losing the connection. And here's what you don't fully understand yet. That panic is not about them. It's about what their distance triggers inside you. I'm going to explain why silence feels so unbearable and why it is actually the most powerful position you can take. And later, I'm going to show you what their mind does when you finally stop chasing. You may not expect it. Right now, silence feels like rejection. It feels like abandonment. When you stop reaching out, your body reacts as if something important is being taken away. Your nervous system doesn't calmly say, "This is space." It says, "Danger, you might lose this person." So you chase, you send the extra message, you try to clarify, you explain your feelings again, you try to fix what may not even be broken. You think you're protecting the relationship, but what you are actually protecting is your anxiety. Chasing is anxiety in action. And here's a truth that may be uncomfortable. Every time you chase, you lower your position, not your value, your position. When you chase someone who is pulling away, you are energetically placing them above you. You are signaling that their attention is more important than your self-respect. You are telling them, without words, "I will move toward you even if you do not move toward me." Healthy relationships do not require pursuit. They require mutual effort. Remember this line, self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. Say it again inside your mind, self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. Silence feels hard because it forces you to sit with uncertainty. You can't control the outcome. You can't predict their next move. You can't force reassurance. You are left alone with your thoughts. But that discomfort is not weakness. It is growth. When you choose no contact, you are not playing a game. You are interrupting a pattern. You are breaking the cycle of reacting to every shift in their mood. You are reclaiming your emotional center. Think about the dynamic honestly. If you are always the one initiating, always the one smoothing things over, always the one asking where things stand, then you are carrying the emotional weight. You are managing the connection. And when you stop, it feels like everything might collapse. But if it collapses when you stop holding it up, then it was never balanced. Silence exposes imbalance. And that is why it is powerful. When you stop chasing, you create space. In that space, truth rises. Either they step forward, or they remain distant. Either they value the connection enough to move toward you, or they reveal that you were investing more than they were. Chasing hides the truth. Silence reveals it. You may fear that if you don't reach out, they will forget you. But ask yourself this honestly, do you want to be remembered because you constantly appear? Or because your presence carries weight? When you chase, your presence becomes predictable. When you step back, your presence becomes valuable. This is not about manipulation, it is about dignity. Silence shifts you from reaction to observation. Instead of trying to control how they feel, you start noticing how they act. Instead of begging for clarity, you wait for it to show itself. And here is something important. The urge to reach out is often rooted in older wounds. Maybe you learned early in life that love could disappear. Maybe you learned that you had to work for attention. So now, when someone pulls back, your body reacts like it did years ago. You are not crazy for feeling this way. You are conditioned. But conditioning can be changed. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. When you choose silence, even when it feels uncomfortable, you are teaching your nervous system a new lesson. You are saying, "I can handle uncertainty." You are saying, "I do not need to beg for connection." You are saying, "If someone wants to be in my life, they will step forward." And something subtle begins to shift inside you. You start to realize that your value does not decrease when someone becomes distant. You start to see that chasing never truly made you feel secure anyway. It only gave you temporary relief. Think about it. Every time you chased, did you feel deeply safe? Or did you feel relieved for a moment, only to start worrying again? Relief is not security. Silence gives you the opportunity to build real security, not from their response, but from your restraint. Every time you resist the urge to send that extra message, you strengthen your emotional backbone. You prove to yourself that you can feel discomfort without collapsing, and that changes how you show up. You begin to move differently, speak differently, think differently. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-apologizing. You stop trying to convince someone of your worth, because worth does not require convincing. If someone is confused about your value, you do not argue your case. You observe their behavior. You adjust accordingly. Right now, the hardest thing for you may not be losing them. It may be losing the illusion of control. When you chase, you feel like you are doing something. When you stay silent, you feel exposed. But exposure builds strength. In the next part, we are going to go deeper into what actually happens in their mind when you stop reaching out. And more importantly, what begins to change inside you when you consistently choose self-respect over fear. When you step back, you are not just changing your behavior, you are changing the emotional contract. Before, the pattern may have been simple. They withdraw, you pursue. They go quiet, you fill the silence. They hesitate, you reassure. That pattern gives them comfort. It removes pressure from them. It places responsibility on you. When you step back, that pattern breaks. Psychologically, this creates something powerful: uncertainty on their side. Human beings notice shifts in rhythm. When someone who always reaches suddenly becomes still, it interrupts expectation. The mind begins to ask questions. Why did they stop? Are they losing interest? Are they pulling away? Attention increases where predictability decreases. This is not manipulation, it is human psychology. When you were chasing, you were easy to read. Your effort was constant. Your availability was guaranteed, and when something is guaranteed, it is often unconsciously undervalued, not because you lack worth, but because effort was not required to maintain you. When you stop reaching out, you reintroduce effort into the equation. Now they must decide whether to move toward you, and that decision reveals truth. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. When you live by that line, your energy changes. You are no longer asking, how do I keep them? You are asking, do they step up when I step back? That question alone shifts your power. Now let's be honest about what happens inside you during this time. The first days of stepping back can feel intense. You might check your phone repeatedly. You might feel a wave of anxiety in your chest. Your thoughts might create stories. Maybe they're already moving on. Maybe they never cared. Maybe I ruined it. These thoughts are normal. They are the mind trying to protect you from uncertainty. When the urge to text or call rises, do not shame yourself. Pause. Name it. Say quietly, this is anxiety. Naming the emotion reduces its control. Then delay action. Give yourself 15 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Most impulses weaken when they're not fed immediately. Next, change your physical state. Stand up. Walk outside. Do something that shifts your body. Anxiety is energy. It needs movement. Sitting still with your phone keeps the cycle alive. Move your body and you move your mind. Then ask yourself a simple question. If I send this message, what am I hoping to feel? Usually the answer is reassurance, safety, importance. Now ask the harder question. Can I create a small sense of that feeling without them? Go to the gym. Complete a task you've been avoiding. Build something tangible. Achievement stabilizes you more than temporary attention ever will. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. Repeat it when the urge feels overwhelming. There is another layer to stepping back that many people miss. When you stop reaching out, you create silence not only between you and them, but inside your own mind. You begin to see the relationship more clearly. Without constant messaging, you notice patterns you ignored. You remember moments that didn't feel right. You recognize how often you were the one adjusting. Distance sharpens perception, and in their mind something else begins to happen. If they value you, your absence becomes noticeable. They may check their phone expecting your message. They may feel the gap you used to fill. They may realize how much effort you were putting in. Sometimes people only understand contribution when it is removed. If they do not value you, they will remain comfortable in the silence. That also gives you information. Either way, silence reveals reality. Your job during this period is not to obsess over what they are thinking. Your job is to rebuild your center. That means shifting daily focus away from them and toward yourself. What does that look like? It means structuring your day around growth instead of waiting. Wake up with intention, move your body every day. Strength training, running, yoga, anything that builds discipline. Physical strength reinforces emotional strength. Eat well, sleep well. These are not small details. A regulated body supports a regulated mind. It means investing in your work or your studies. Progress builds confidence. Confidence reduces emotional dependency. When your life is expanding, one person's attention does not define your mood. It means deepening your relationships with people who show up consistently. Healthy connection reminds you what balanced effort feels like. It recalibrates your standards. It means learning. Read about attachment. Reflect on your patterns. Journal your triggers. Growth requires awareness. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. As you repeat this line, it begins to shape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to be chosen. You start seeing yourself as someone who evaluates. And that shift is powerful. When you step back long enough, something unexpected happens. The urgency fades. The constant mental noise quiets. You start to realize that your world is bigger than this one connection. You rediscover parts of yourself that were overshadowed by anxiety. And here's the deeper transformation. You stop chasing not only them, but validation itself. You stop trying to prove that you are worthy of attention. You understand that if someone cannot meet you halfway, the answer is not to run further toward them. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. The more you embody that truth, the less reactive you become. You are no longer triggered by every delayed reply. You are no longer shaken by emotional inconsistency. You observe, you assess, you choose. And soon you begin to ask a different question. Not, why haven't they reached out? But if they do reach out, what standards will I hold? That is where real power begins. Now we come to the moment that truly tests your growth. The message appears, or it doesn't. If they come back, breathe before you react. Do not let relief make decisions for you. Relief is emotional. Standards are rational. You worked hard to step back. You built strength in the silence. Do not abandon that strength the moment attention returns. If they reach out, respond calmly. You do not need to punish. You do not need to over-celebrate. You simply match energy. If they send a short message, you reply with balance. If they suggest meeting, you agree at a pace that feels steady, not rushed. Slow is powerful. Watch actions more than words. Anyone can say they missed you. Anyone can promise change. What matters is consistency. Are they showing up regularly? Are they communicating clearly? Are they taking responsibility for the distance or pretending nothing happened? This is where boundaries become real. A boundary is not an attack. It is clarity. It sounds like, I'm open to this, but I need consistency. It sounds like, if we're building something, we build it with mutual effort. You say it once, calmly, without fear, without begging. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. If they are serious, they will respect your pace. They will not rush you. They will not guilt you. They will rise to meet your standards. And if they resist simple expectations, you have your answer. Silence reveals truth either way. Now let's face the other possibility. They don't come back. The silence continues. Days turn into weeks. No effort appears. This is painful. You may feel rejected. You may question your worth. But their absence is information. If someone can let you disappear from their life without effort, they are showing you their level of investment. And that clarity, though it hurts, protects you. You do not send a final emotional speech trying to awaken their feelings. You do not beg for closure. Closure does not always come from a conversation. Sometimes closure comes from behavior, from patterns. From silence itself, you accept what is shown. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. Moving forward means you stop romanticizing potential. You stop imagining who they could have been. You look at who they were. You learn from it. Where did you ignore red flags? Where did you overextend? Where did you lower standards to keep connection? This reflection is not self-blame. It is growth. Silence reveals truth either way. If they return with effort, you require alignment. If they stay gone, you choose dignity. In both outcomes, you gain clarity, and clarity is power. You are no longer chasing a fantasy. You are responding to reality. Let's summarize this simply. You stopped chasing. You sat with discomfort. You rebuilt your emotional center. You allowed space to expose the truth. If they came back, you responded with boundaries and slower pace. If they didn't, you accepted their silence as an answer. In both cases, you protected your dignity. Now here's one clear action step. For the next 7 days, write down 3 non-negotiable standards you have in relationships. Keep them simple: consistency, respect, clear communication. Read them every morning and promise yourself you will not override them out of fear. When you live by standards, you stop negotiating your worth. Understand this deeply. The goal was never to get them back. The goal was to get yourself back, to return to a place where you are not driven by panic, but by principle. Self-respect is more attractive than pursuit. When you embody that, your energy changes. You become selective instead of desperate, calm instead of reactive, grounded instead of anxious. And that energy shapes every future connection. You are not here to convince someone to choose you. You are here to decide who deserves access to you. Stay steady. Stay disciplined. Let your silence speak when necessary. Let your standards stand without apology. If they align, you welcome them with clarity. If they don't, you walk forward with dignity. That is calm power. That is confidence without noise. That is self-respect in action. And if you're ready to go deeper into building emotional strength that no one can shake, watch the next video.